and happy Friday. It's another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing, and I'm super hyped. And yes, I'm using that term on purpose because today I have Kati. She is known as the Manufacturing Hype Girl. Hello, Kati. How are you doing?
Hi, Megan. I'm awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super nervous. So
Don't
take a breath.
don't be nervous. It's okay. It's just two friends talking. Actually, I'm really excited too because I didn't realize that you were from Wisconsin until I had a conversation with you before. So we have two cheeseheads on the podcast today, and I'm super excited. And we already have comments coming in, so I just want everybody to know who's tuning in. Feel free to drop a comment or a question, and we'll pull you in when I can. So we have Whitney. Hi, Whitney. I'm excited because she's actually coming on too, and she's a fellow tech writer. So super excited about that. And then we have Jennifer on here. Hello,
Hi,
Jennifer. Thank you for joining
Jennifer.
us. And then they're just saying, Friday.
Yay.
And then LinkedIn user, I have no idea who this is. Feel free to drop in your name. LinkedIn has still got that crazy bug going on, and I don't know how to fix it. But happy Friday, everyone. And then we have, I hope I'm saying your name right, Imam. Greetings from Bollywood, Mumbai, India. That's
Wow.
awesome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from Mumbai. That's awesome. So, Kati, you have, it's Shannon. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for joining us.
Shannon.
All right. So, Kati, who are you? And can you start telling us how you got into this wonderful journey of engineering and manufacturing? Because most women that I've talked to, their response was, well, I kind of did it by accident. Like, this wasn't my first career choice. So how did you end up in manufacturing?
Literally by accident, I think. I was born and raised in a blue collar family. My dad worked at the local foundry. It's called Wapaka Foundry, and
Okay.
all my friends' dads worked there. Everybody I knew, their parents worked there. So it's just like, I was exposed to it, I guess, early on. And then as I got older and was, moving around in jobs, and I started working for a fastener supplier doing like industrial supply, and I did all their lead generation. So
Okay.
I got to actually go to one of their shops, one of their customer shops, and that's when I saw those big farm tractors being made, the ones that go above the corn.
That'd be cool.
And I was like, it was so cool, so exciting. And that's when I knew I just wanted to be in manufacturing forever. It's so impressive. So I just kind of fell into it.
Those tractors do not look as big from afar. When you're seeing them in the field, or like if you're in an airplane, they do not look as big as they actually are. And anyone who's from the Midwest knows like how big farming is here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like we have Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois even has some great farms. And those tractors are huge. They're like,
I want to drive under one. I just want to.
yes.
Okay, so Holland, like New Holland, John Deere. You guys,
Yes.
Case. Can I just drive under one? What would happen? I have a small car.
We'll film it, and then I'll
Yeah.
give you like free promo for sure. So like, no, for sure. Like anybody who owns a tractor company, like let's film this and get you some free promo. I think that would be fun. But they're just, and they have so many parts involved with them too. And like manufacturing, I don't think people understand like how big it actually is, because you have things like your cell phones and the shoes that you wear, but then you have packaging, but then agriculture is its own beast. It's got so much, and then automation is getting tied into agriculture. So now you're getting all of these robotic machines that are actually doing harvesting on their own. Like I just saw one that was taking radishes and like
so cool.
harvesting radish. Yeah, and I'm like, how the
I like
heck?
watching those like YouTube videos where they show all that cool stuff happening. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Dave Chrysler's been doing a lot of posts that are like that too. I think are real fun. But yeah, I like seeing how the machines can just do all this work. Bloop. It's so fun to watch.
Well, then there's one too with the grapes, and it was literally like hitting the green grapes and separating them from the red grapes. So it's like dumping all of these grapes into this machine, and then they have these things that hit the green grapes, so it's separating the different color grapes. And I'm like,
cool.
How does it do that? That's crazy. And we have so many more comments. Namaste. Thank you for joining us. That's so cool. India. Like, that's awesome. And then we have Diane. Thank you for joining us. And then we have John on here.
John Buglino. Hey, John.
And then they're doing, and Diane's saying, go Eagles.
Oh, did you see what I wrote in there? I said, P.S., go Chiefs.
It is Super Bowl weekend this weekend. I'm traveling to Nashville, so I'm going to miss the game. I'm part of some pool too. And they sent me my numbers, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this means, but okay. Because I did a pool for one of my friends who just got diagnosed with cancer. So I was basically just doing it for them. And they sent me a bunch of numbers, and I have no idea what it means because I'm not really a football follower.
Good
so
luck.
I'm like, okay, thanks for the numbers. Just let me know.
I'm not a football fan either, to be honest with you. I just, I like the Chiefs. I lived there. I lived in Kansas City, so I like the Chiefs. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I know.
So I know we completely went on a tangent, and that's fine. But you saw the big tractors, and then you did a lot of the lead generation at the fastener company that you worked for, and now you're at M&I, which stands for Manufacturers News Incorporated.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about that brand and what your responsibilities are there?
Yeah, totally. So how I came to M&I is when I was working for this industrial fastener supply company, I was doing their lead generation. So I had to build lists and then make cold calls and scheduled appointments for outside salespeople. And I used IndustrySelect there for my database to build my list for my lead generating. And that's how I got in touch with M&I, because that's M&I's brand is IndustrySelect. So I knew that I didn't want to do telemarketing forever and cold calling and stuff like that. And I wanted to work for M&I. So I called them up and said, hey, Scott, can I work for you guys showing everybody how to use IndustrySelect and tell them how awesome it is? And he's like, how would you do that? And I said, well, I would do technical demos. I would do webinars all the time and just have them live and people can watch. And so I have been doing that with M&I for 11 years. We figure I've done about 1,500 live technical demonstrations in the time I've been there.
That's really cool. And then recently, it was last year, correct, that you did like the M&I University kind of type talks. What inspired you to do that? Was that the first time that you did something like that, or has M&I done something like that before?
So I always want to support Manufacturing Month, and M&I has always done a little bit with just the MFG month, MFG.org or whatever it was. We've done some stuff with them in the past. Was it manufacturingday.org? That one. We've done some stuff with them in the past, and we haven't really done anything that is real, like out in your face. And my job at one of the many jobs I do at M&I is as brand ambassador. My job is just to talk about the company and what we do and, bring brand awareness. And so I was like, why don't we take advantage of more, manufacturing month type stuff? So that's when we came up with M&I University, which is just an additional site on ours. And it's I just asked my friends pretty much to talk about something manufacturing related, teach a class, and then people sign up for those classes, and then we record them, and they're housed there and on our YouTube channel and stuff. So we did that for Manufacturing Month, and I hope to continue doing it. I hope we do it again this year, and I hope that we do it, on a more regular basis, and just keep bringing videos in, teaching about different aspects of manufacturing that people need to know about.
I thought it was really cool. Like, I had a lot of fun doing it. I was actually really nervous when I did that presentation, but I thought it was really fun. The process was really easy. You were very easy to work with, and it was just really cool format. So yeah, if anyone's interested in learning more about that, make sure you reach out to Katie. And if you have a topic, I'm sure she would love to have you come out. It was all done virtually, so you could just do it straight from your home. And yeah, they do a really good job at promoting it as well too. So let's talk about Manufacturing Hype Girl. When did you create that, and why, like what inspired you to create it, and why Manufacturing Hype? Why those words?
Well, my inspiration was you. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. So, and it was in 2021 or so, I came into LinkedIn. I came back to LinkedIn after things had changed after COVID. And I was learning that there was so much more to LinkedIn than what we were using it for. And that's when I learned about building your personal brand. I did that Brand 30 cohort. I don't know if you heard of that. Yep. I did that. And it is awesome. It's fantastic. I was able to do like 5 days of it because it was so hard. And then not like hard, but it was really in depth. You have to really spend time thinking and writing. And so I could only survive 5 days of it. But I learned so much in those 5 days. And I wanted to build my personal brand. And then I heard about you. I was watching you and I'm like, oh, I want to Mavens in Manufacturing. That's awesome. And then, I didn't have the manufacturing hype girl then. I didn't think about it at all. And then I started going to the USA Manufacturing, our Twitter group and the Twitter chat group. And eventually those guys there just coined me the manufacturing hype girl. I think I just get so excited about things, especially talking about things that I'm passionate about. And it's just like, and I like to support people and support US manufacturing. So I'm just going to hype it up. That's what I want to do. Just talk about it and hype it up.
I like that. Andrew just posted something, Andrew Crow. For those of you who don't know him, he is this amazing human being, and he's doing this national tour called the New Manufacturing Renaissance Tour. Go check him out on LinkedIn, but he just created this post about, he saw somebody make a post about we shouldn't be hyping it up because I guess the term hype has negative, which I don't understand why, but I feel like using that term, especially with the younger generations, like we have to start incorporating some of their lingo into our conversations, into our lingo, if we really want the next generations to come and be excited about this. So why is it important for you to hype up this sector? Because you make it a point too, and we were talking about this in a previous conversation, you're making it a point too to highlight American made and US manufacturing. And I feel like all of us who are in the sector today, like we know how it was in the prime back in the day. Like it was something to be proud of. Even like with my branding, I'm trying to pay homage to, the women in the 40s who came together and did what they needed to do because it was important for us to lift manufacturing up and help the men who are going off to war and just keep everything going, because without manufacturing, our economic stability is at risk. And for a while, it's been put on the back burner. Those who wanted to go to tech schools were made to believe that they weren't as good, I think, compared to those who went to college. So why is it important for you to hype up manufacturing, especially US manufacturing?
For me, I guess it's really just about supporting our own country's economy. Honestly, manufacturing is the number one contributor to the GDP. We are the driving force in the economy. If manufacturing fails in America, we fail as a country. We can't, it's not sustainable. We can't support ourselves. So it's just really important. That is really where this passion comes from, is that. And I like to make sure that when I'm purchasing my own items, that I'm being really aware of where things are made. I just think it's important that everybody put their money where their values are. I always talk, to my friends and family about voting with your feet. Also, we should probably vote with our money. Put your money where your values are, and my values are in my country. I love my country, and I want to support it, and I want to see it around forever. So, the U.S. manufacturing really is just a huge deal to me. I love it.
I like that, and I just like how you get so excited about it, and just some of the things that you're doing are really great. And other people agree with me because we're getting a lot of comments. Hi, Gail. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Gail.
She's on a hike right now. She loves your origin story. I'm super excited that you brought the PT Expo up to me because I didn't even know about it. And now that I know that both you and Gail are going to be there, I'm excited to meet both of you in person. And then we have Gwen.
So hi, Gwen. Aw.
Saying I love you. And we have M&I University was awesome. Love the idea so much and learned a lot. And then she's shouting out USA Manufacturing Happy Hour. And Gail said that you rocked it on the Twitter chat yesterday.
Thanks.
I gotta start tuning into that more often. I'm hearing great things about it, and I haven't had a chance to get on there yet, but I need to start listening to that channel.
Yeah, you do.
And then Meaghan, if you are a podcast listener, you might like this series of Here's Where It Gets Interesting. I'm gonna have to
take Rosie the Riveter. I think I know somebody who talked to her not so long ago.
I did. I actually talked to a few Rosies, and that's such a great organization. So if anyone is looking for like an organization to support, go to Rosie the Riveter. They just are doing amazing things, and they still have Rosies alive, the original Rosies, and I think the youngest now are like 93 or 94, and then one of their oldest might be 104 right now. Yeah, they're amazing women, and then they have their children who are called the Rosebuds, and they're just as amazing too. Like they're so proud of their moms. It's awesome. And then we have Imam on here too. They said prayers for my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So let's talk about the current state of manufacturing. I mentioned before, like there's roadblocks. Like we have this huge skills gap. We also have gaps within ethnicities and gender. And, there's still these misconceptions kind of looming over the sector. What are your insights or opinions on what we need to do differently to remove some of these major roadblocks that are existing? Like, what is your thought process? And do you have any ideas on how to get the next generation really hyped up about this sector?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of strong opinions, which I should probably be pretty careful about. But I really put this onto the public school systems to introduce manufacturing and skilled trades to the kids early on. I have 3 boys, and they're all through their careers. I mean, my oldest is 21 and my youngest is 14. So all through all these schools, they were like almost conditioned or learned behavior very early on that they had to know what they wanted to be when they grew up so that they could prepare, so elementary school prepares you for middle school prepares you for high school, and high school just trying to figure out what you're going to do when you go to college. So it's like, what's the point then? I guess there are obviously jobs or careers that you need to have a college degree for. I get it. I want my doctor to have a college degree. You know what I mean? And my attorney. But,
right.
But not, they just put too much stress on it, I think. So in my opinion, I think the schools could do a lot better in just, again, bringing the trades to the kids early on, teaching them about them and getting them interested in it and all different career opportunities and abilities. So I really want the schools to invest in their local businesses, their local factories, and I want the same thing for local businesses to support their local public schools. This is your future workforce. Why not invest there?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that you brought up, because usually around, towards the end of the year, a lot of companies get down, they sit together, they have their major meetings with their sales and their marketing teams, and they're trying to figure out, okay, where can we allocate our budget to next? How do we get more leads? And they're not really thinking about community outreach so much. I had a talk with Allison. She is one of the owners of Lintech in Georgia, and she was saying, she's like, they have this budget and they don't really allocate any of it towards community outreach or like supporting any of the school initiatives for like FIRST programs or anything. Maybe start doing that, because you're not just marketing to your customers anymore. You are marketing to your future workforce, like you mentioned. So I think that would be a good idea. And Whitney commented, she said, so we all need to be more actively involved in our local politics to influence the public education system. And I agree 100%. It's going to take all of the branches within a community to come together, talk all of this out, and come up with some sort of strategy. And it's going to be different too, I think, within each community, because not everybody has the same type of manufacturing in their community. Some is more tech based, some is more industrial based, some is more agricultural based.
Right.
So it's really got to be a plan that fits within what is getting manufactured in your community, I think. And I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on that. We also have Hank.
I totally agree with that. I think that like when you look at the Fox Valley area, you know, in Wisconsin, you know, Appleton, Oshkosh, Green Bay, you know, that area, paper companies are huge there. That's the big industry there.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense for these companies to be in the schools doing work, you know, during manufacturing month. Open up your facility to students and have them come through. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like such a no-brainer to me. I don't know why it doesn't happen more often. And I can't talk to all of them. I don't have enough time to talk to all of them and have them come into all the schools.
Well, and that's why we need manufacturers' helps too, because they're going to know their product down to the T. Like they're the experts. So they need to get in front of the kids and their schools. And if they don't know how, you know, they need to either walk into the school and say, hey, I'm a manufacturer here. What can I do to help educate the community and the students about some of the products and services I do? Because I feel like there's still a disconnect and everybody's kind of waiting to be asked or invited to come in, where I kind of took the more intrusive or invasive approach where I just walked into the school and said, hey, I really like manufacturing. I want to know what you're doing. How are you teaching manufacturing? What do your kids know about it? Are any of them interested? Do they even know who's producing anything here in our community? Would they want to do a tour? Can we create an event around facility tours? And it really started the conversations going. And now I'm trying to get like a first robotics team started in our community. And I just talked to the head. Yeah. So she was like, we're definitely interested. Let us know what we need to do. So now we're going to be working with other robotics teams in the surrounding area so that we can build this new team that's never been thought about before. So I'm super excited about that. We do have Hank on here. Hi, Hank. Thanks for joining us again. His daughters, Peyton and Aiden, are always watching on Fridays, and they're super cute. And I hope to meet them one day. He's also located in Canada. So, Gail, if you should reach out to Hank and connect with him because he has two daughters that are really interested in manufacturing. And then well-said vocational guidance and soft skills training combined would create a formidably worthwhile workforce.
Yeah, soft skills too, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's why I like First Robotics so much too, because it's not just engineering and manufacturing, it's team building, collaboration. They have to come up with a marketing plan and a business plan. They have to do their own promotion. So they have to reach out to their community and ask for either donations or funding for some of the stuff that they're doing. So it's really teaching them all of those soft skills in one. That's why I like First so much.
That is cool. We have at our local school, I'm in a super tiny town. At our local school, we have a manufacturing day, and it has nothing to do with October at all. They've been doing this forever, and I love it. I've been here since 2016, and I think it's so cool. What they do is kids from very young, you know, from kindergarten all the way to seniors, they can manufacture their own item and then sell it. And then you go and you sit in the lunchroom and they've got all these tables set up and you get to walk by and see what everybody's made. People make like slingshots, bracelets, chapstick. I have chapstick that I still use from one that I was at. Like, and the kids have to do this they have to come up with a concept, how they're going to make it, all the parts they need to make it. And then they have to go to market with it. They have to talk about it and tell you about it. And you can go in and buy the stuff from them. It's so fun. Yeah.
They still do that today?
They do. I have I've gone to them before and then like taken pictures and made, you know, and then we've written a blog about it for M&I. So yeah, it's so fun.
Awesome. Let me know when it is. I would love to come out because I don't mind. We're in the same state, so I will travel out there to see that. I think
we have other plans. We have to travel to see each other too.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to go through some of these comments. Diane said, keep in mind our students today will be the leaders of tomorrow. They will be making the decisions when we need them to care for us. That's absolutely
exactly
100% true. Tours are a great idea. Thank you, Kati. And then absolutely, Meaghan, we need to address the disconnect.
Yeah.
What a great idea. Robotics teams, Gail. It's so important that with marketing, we understand the information is not only for sales, but also for recruiting and retention.
Right? Yeah.
That's so true. Yep, start early in their lives. Manufacturing is here to stay. I think we need to start in elementary too. Not like use the language that we're using in high school, but expose them some way to like technology.
And
Whitney
why
on there.
not use the language you use in high school? Why not? I mean, teach them the words and what they mean. Why not?
Yeah.
Start them young.
Well, and I agree with that too. So I'm not great at math at all. Like I've mentioned this before. I still use my fingers, and I have my two kids, my two boys. They have iPads. I'll admit it. I'm one of those parents, and they have iPads, but they also have apps on there that are educational apps because I really struggled with being social when I was younger because my older sister always talked to me, so I was more of an introvert. So there's apps on there that teach them how to write and count and do math. My son isn't even in kindergarten and he knows how to multiply a certain number groups.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Don't make fun of apps. I don't make fun of parents who put their kids in front of a TV or a tablet because, there's some awesome stuff at our fingertips these days, resources for our kids.
Right. And so I also got a robot toy for them for Christmas. And now they're learning how to code that robot. So I feel like if you just make it like a natural kind of thing where you're saying, oh, we're playing with something, they don't really need to understand all of the technical stuff quite yet. But if you just present it in like, oh, we're playing, like they'll pick it up fairly easy. My daughter knows how to edit photos and do all that video stuff because of Instagram.
And hire her.
Yeah. She's actually going in the medical field. And I think it's interesting that she chose that field because I don't have the stomach for it. So I don't know where she got the gene, but one of her favorite shows was Grey's Anatomy. So that's why she wants to be a surgical nurse, is because of that show. So Andrew's doing work with Project MFG where he's doing a TV series, and I think we need more of that. So like Dirty Jobs.
I love that.
I love that show. And I think that's a great...
How Things Are Made. I watch those too. Yeah, all those things, definitely.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for manufacturers or schools on how to get started with connecting with one another? Because I think, like I mentioned before, there's a disconnect. But what's your thoughts? Like you're doing that M&I University, and I think that's great because that's content that any school can, take and put on their projectors and show to students. Like what other advice do you have, if any, for manufacturers or communities to get connected with one another?
There's got to be a person who's going to do it. There's got to be a person who's going to do like you do and step out and call the school and say, hey, we do this and we want to be involved. But they need to be involved, HR, whatever. They need to be involved. So I think that Manufacturing Month is a perfect way to get started. Open up a tour, have a small workshop maybe at the school, bring it in there, whatever. Manufacturing Month is a perfect time to do it. And that's October every year for those who don't already know. So definitely talk to your schools about how they might want to be involved in Manufacturing Month. And with schools, same thing. Maybe reach out to your local factories when you have a budgeting issue or something, or whatever. Like work together on things.
Yeah,
call them, talk to them. Manufacturing events. It's so important.
So one of the things that Katie and I were discussing the last time we talked, and before I get into that, Diane pulled up. She said, we need to be the leaders of our own industry and promote the benefits of what our industry does and how we help all, not just with the students. Too many people still think that the industry is the harsh life they learned about during the Industrial Revolution and labor issues. 100% agree. This isn't, I know a lot of people said this isn't your grandfather's manufacturing anymore. Well, in my case, it's not my dad's manufacturing anymore either. Like, it's so different. Yeah, you're still going to have the dirty, dark, dangerous stuff when you're taking raw bars of steel and forming them into different parts and components, but there's so much more involved than just that part of it. Like I said,
a perfect example of this is when my dad worked at the Wapaka Foundry. He was covered in black dust all the time, and he still has a cough and, whatever. And that was back in the early 70s. There was no regulations. There was no protection for them at all. They just did what they did. Maybe they didn't know it was important. But my son came in last summer doing the same job my dad was doing, and he had a suit he had to wear that had a cooling breathing machine. It was a big, huge mask, and it was hooked up to a thing he wore on his back, and it had cool, clean air in it for him to breathe.
That's super cool.
So don't tell me this is the same factory that my dad worked at. It's definitely not. So
it's changing. Yeah, that's an awesome example. Well, one of the things that you and I talked about, and I really want to move forward with this. So you were telling me how you like antique machines, like you like learning about them. So we're thinking about doing a pub crawl type manufacturing tour where we go to different areas right now within the Midwest, because that's where we're from, and trying to find antique machines that started and were highlighted during, the old days of manufacturing and engineering. And I think by presenting the history of manufacturing, we can really get kids excited that way as well too, because then they can see where it started and how it got to where it is now. And again, that's why I like my branding, because I'm really trying to get women especially excited about, okay, this is what they used to do, and they've opened up all of these doors of opportunity for us, and here it is now. So where should we start this tour? Because I'm
just gonna say, I think we should do the Fox Valley. They have some really good antique stores. I know there's some good antique stores around me as well, but again, I'm so rural. But yeah, I just say antique stores would be a good place to start. And the one here in town that I went to recently, it was so hard for me to find things that were made in America, and they are even. So I think sadly, we're getting to a time where what is considered antiques now still is not all made in America stuff.
Well, and to be fair though, like and to be fair, like I think we should not just focus on the machines, but also the tools, because a lot of things
made in America, any consumer products, anything anybody uses made in America, it doesn't have to be a machine. They're just super cool. That's all.
Right. And I think what else is also cool is that, America's kind of like the melting pot of the world, where a lot of people have come here because they were looking for a better life. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing today has been a combination. And this is why I'm always trying to promote diversity within the sector, because then you get a diversity thought process and ideas and collaboration and innovation. And we have so many groups here that have come from different countries. So like, for example, I call myself a mutt because I'm German, Irish, and Polish. All of those groups came together, and we've gotten their technology and stuff, and now we have the advancements in technology that make American manufacturing so great. So I think it would be really cool to see that history of it too.
Yeah. When I was in South Dakota with my husband a couple years ago, we went to this old stagecoach town, and we were in the buildings have been the same since 1880 something. They didn't do anything to them. So we're just walking around all these old buildings looking at stuff. And that's when it kind of dawned on me that everything was made in America back then. I mean, obviously they made stuff else places. What I'm saying though is that in that time in the 1800s, people couldn't afford to have things shipped from overseas. It was like designer. Only the rich people could do that. We had to make it here. So I was seeing all these old machines, all these old things that were all made in Milwaukee or Cleveland or Pittsburgh. It's like all over. And so that's what really kind of like, I was like, oh my goodness, we need to get back to this instead of having things shipped in. I mean, obviously, if you like that, buy it. But we could just do it all here too. So
it's
I have a passion, and it's like way bigger than I can even do anything about. But I'll just like talk about it.
That's awesome though. So we're gonna do that. So you guys look out for that. We have to plan it and figure out a strategy for it. But I definitely want to, because there's so many different types of machines here in the Midwest. And Hank said there's a lot of museums and historic villages that have machines and many operating. So
That's a
Hank,
good
if you
one.
drop the names of them, because we'll come. And then Tanya made a comment. She said manufacturers should know their local tech ed teachers and guidance counselors. Yes. Be open to job shadows and apprenticeships. Give kids something to dream about and get excited about. And there's been a ton of comments that agree with her. One person I do want to mention is Matt Goosey, and I also want to mention Devin Russell. So Devin works at a CNC machining company, and he took it upon himself to set some time aside. So he actually spoke with his supervisor and said, how much time can I take to go to the local high school and talk to them about what we're doing here and get connected with the tech ed teacher there? The school there in Elk River used to have 12 to 15 tech ed teachers, and now I think they're down to 3 or 4. And it's because how they're it's all policy and budget reasons, and how they're presenting these classes as electives. So they're not getting as much priority consideration as other courses are. So what he's trying to develop, Devin, is this kind of rotational volunteer schedule with other manufacturers near the high school, so that, because he's in sales too, so he has to pay attention to customers, and customers come first to business. So when he can't be available, he's trying to develop this schedule where other individuals at different companies can be available. So at least one person is in the school every day communicating with the teacher and the students and trying to figure out, okay, how can we connect these students to these companies and make apprenticeship programs? And then Matt Goosey is doing the SOS program, which is Save Our Schools. And he was able to get an incentive for high school teachers so that they got an extra how many thousands of dollars added to their salary so that they could go to his facility, learn more about the CNC machining that he's doing at his facility, take that and bring it back to the students and teach the students that, so that they're setting up these kids to know how to do a CNC job at a local manufacturer. And
even telling them what a CNC job is, because I talk to my kids, they're like, I need a better paid job. And I'm like, well, you can be a CNC operator for like $38 an hour. And they're like, ew, what's that? What do you say, ew, what's that? First of all, if you don't know what it is, how do you say ew? And learn about it. It's not ew, it's a computer. It's okay.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. A lot of people don't know what CNC stands for. So one of the things that I was talking to with, her name is Deb Prouse. She does the VOTEC programming at the community that I'm from. And she is like, the way that we're writing these description, like for the courses, the course descriptions, how we're writing them, it's turning kids off. Like they don't understand.
You can write them.
That's what I told her. I said, send them to me and I'll write them so that they know what it is and they're excited about it. And it's not just the kids either. It's the families. They're not educated enough to like know what these manufacturing company, and I'm not saying educated like they're dumb or anything. They don't have the information available to them to know what career opportunities are out there for manufacturing. So it's not just educating the students, it's also the families and the community members so that they get excited about it. And then Diane said too many students are growing up feeling that they can't compete in the classroom. They don't fit in the education system, so they have a why try, I'll only fail anyway mentality. If we can support all students. And that's so true, Diane. And that's why I pulled Andrew into the event that I wanted to do in Beloit. I knew that some of these kids weren't going to connect with me because I didn't come from the same life experience that they came from. And Andrew's able to connect with kids in a certain way because of his story and his background. He's able to like give that light of hope for certain students who come from certain communities and backgrounds. And I think that's important too. Like we have to be better at reading who our audience is and like connecting them with the right people and the right mentors, because everybody has a different life experience. So we can't all have the same mentor because we're not going to connect in the same
no
way.
cookie cutter way to do it. I love what Andrew does. He's so exciting. He's such an exciting character just to watch and listen to. So even though I don't share the same background as he does, I still admire everything he does, and I still like listening to him. Oh yeah, he's great.
And then Hank goes, let's go to the Henry Ford in the Village in Detroit during Automate. Yes. Let's do it, Hank. I'm going to be at Automate. I'm so excited to meet him in person. I got to get my passport too. So Hank, I was just telling this to Katie. I did not realize how close Detroit was to Canada. I need to do a better job. I need to do a better job on my geography. I didn't realize that it was so close. And then Kathy, computerized numerical control, CNC.
Yeah.
Yep, we need to do that. Well, Katie, this has been really fun. I enjoy you so much, and we're gonna get together and we're gonna plan out this pub crawl for historical machines and equipment.
Matt Goosey is gonna make so much fun of me, and so will Bob Feathers if I'm walking around drinking my Blatz and going to the antique stores.
That's totally fine. You can make fun of both of us. It's gonna be like American Pickers, but manufacturing edition. That's what it's gonna be, and I hope that gets spread out far enough so we can actually meet those guys from American Pickers, because I'm a huge fan of that show. I'm such a nerd for that show.
I think the cool thing about this area is that you can do like a bar and then an antique store right across the street. Bar, antique store, bar, antique store. It'll be so easy.
And we'll be safe. We'll get an Uber or have someone.
Oh, my son will drive us. He's all excited to be our designated driver.
Yes. All right. Well, before I let you go, Katie, I know we talked about a lot and this was really fun, but if you had one ask for our audience, what would that ask be?
When you are at the store and you're shopping and you're already looking at labels, why don't you just look and see what the options are for you to purchase made in America versus elsewhere? Just look.
I like that.
What's the harm in checking it out? And maybe you have an option. Maybe there are two and you can choose. I don't know. But do that. I guess that's my ask. Be a little bit more aware and cognizant of where you're putting your money.
I think that's great. And it kind of ties in with, the whole encouragement of buying local as well too. So like we have a great farmers market in our community, and I try to go there during the nice, because right now it's not warm out where I'm from. But I try to go to the local farmers market during the summer months before I actually go to the grocery store, because it's really helpful to the farmers. And we just got a new elk truck too that comes in, so they raise elk. Cool. And I try to eat lean meat over the meat in grocery stores. I hope I'm not offending any vegetarians. I'm a meat eater.
But I feel the same way about shopping local as I do about shopping American made. COVID taught me one thing. It was that I need to rely on my local businesses to get things that I need. And I had to make a conscious decision to support them instead of going to the drive-thru at McDonald's when I could have when I ordered takeout food from the local bowling alley. I just try so hard to be aware of that too. Buying local, sourcing local, and buying American made.
Great. And Diana agrees. She said, great ask. And then one more comment. Kathy said, as a society, we need to reintroduce manufacturing more intentionally and as colorful as we promote STEM.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree 100%. I think, too, we need to stop making the courses as an elective and start making them as requirements.
Agree.
I
growing up, I had to take a tech ed class, and we had to take the shop class where you learn how to change your tire and change your oil and stuff. We had to do that where I grew up. You had to take those classes.
That's awesome. I still don't know how to change my tire. I know how to change my oil, just not my tire. I got to go on YouTube and find that out. And then we have Mom. Good luck and Godspeed, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for a very insightful session. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Well, Katie, if anybody has any more questions for you, or they want to learn more about M&I and the upcoming, hopefully you're doing another one this year, how can they get in touch with you and where should they go?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, Kati McDermith. I'm there. You can message me there. And I'm on Twitter as Kati McDermith. And on Instagram, you can follow me in my quest to start only purchasing American made. And I'm the manufacturing hype girl there. And otherwise, you can email me. Hopefully, you can put the email somewhere and people can read it. But it's kmcdermott@mni.net.
I'll put that in the comments after this gets posted to LinkedIn, the on-demand version. Well, Kati, thank you again. And to all that tuned in and commented, thank you for joining us. We have another great episode next week. So make sure you tune in next Friday at 11:30 Central Time. I am off to Nashville this weekend. I'm leaving on Sunday. So if anyone's out in Nashville for a 3D Experience World, that's a Dassault System and SolidWorks event. Please find me. I have giveaways. I have t-shirts. I have blankets. I have hoodies. I have bracelets. Otherwise, you can also go on manufacturing or mavensofmanufacturing.com and you can purchase your own Mavens merch there if you're interested. So have a great weekend, everyone. Kati, thank you again.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, everybody.
I look forward to our pub crawl. So everybody stay tuned for that as well, too.
I can't wait.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.